What can't I say about TMNT that I already haven't said? At this point, pretty much nothing. But let me tell you, when I first heard about this, I was hyped. A TMNT animated show based on my favorite TMNT movie of last year? That sounded delightful. And so after waiting, and waiting, and waiting, was it worth it? Yes! Okay, so what's the story? Set 2 months after Mutant Mayhem, it follows Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael as they try to balance their dual lives as both teenagers and New York City's heroes in a half cell, along with help from April O'Neil, Splinter, and the other mutants. In the first story arc, the Turtles are separated while facing Bishop, who plans to eliminate all mutants because he still sees them as a malicious threat. In the second story arc, the Turtles butt heads with a group of aquatic mutants known as the East River 3. Okay, right off the bat, the style is really great, having a sketchy, rough look which contrasts perfectly with the oil paint look of the movie. Combine that with a fluid and expressive animation and you got a look I dig for the show. In fact, it actually gives me Scott Pilgrim vibes now that I think about it. The characters are expanded upon in a way that makes it feel natural, with characters like Michelangelo feeling a lot more in-depth than in Mutant Mayhem, or Donatello feeling a lot more like a nerd. While new characters like Pete the Mutant Pigeon are really great and likable in their own right. The writing is a laughing riot all throughout. I love the backstory of Bishop. It's a little bit funny thanks to the assisted son, but most of it is really emotional. And you feel really bad for her. Man, I love how cartoony and insane the facial expressions get, especially on the Turtles. I wish they went more in this direction with other stuff as opposed to the anime stuff that Rise and 2012 were guilty of. They really push the faces far enough to look great. The fight scenes are chaotic, fast-paced, and everything we love about TMNT. They kick turtle ass. Metalhead is so awesome and cute at the same time. Rest in peace. I also love how the second story arc has a variation to match its storyline, like it did for the first one. Although it makes me wish some of the other mutants like Mondo Gecko appeared in the show. Whatever happened to Mondo Gecko? While I found the second story arc to not be as good as the first, it's still pretty interesting and intense. Like for example, the storyline is better at including April and Master Splinter, who in the first storyline just felt like they were added to be there, more so with Splinter than April. You still felt it a little with April though. So seeing Master Splinter not only have a more important role but also a hilarious backing is a joy I never thought I wanted to see, but I'm glad I got to see it anyway. They also managed to flesh out the relationship between the Turtles and the mutants a lot better than Mutant Mayhem. I also thought that the Batman thing with Master Splinter was going to get old really quickly, but surprise! It didn't! Although, is it me or does Ralph's Batman impersonation sound like Christopher Nolan's Batman? I will admit though, the pop culture references did feel a little more forced since a lot more of them appeared in the second storyline. One Piece, Akira, Star Wars, yikes, and I thought them playing Ferris Bueller's Day Off in Mutant Mayhem was unnatural. Even though the East River 3 aren't as interesting villains as Bishop, the fights in the storyline have a lot more varying camera angles and such, which the first storyline already had plenty of. And the surfing bomb scene is probably one of my favorite action scenes of the show. It may have been a little too quick, but it's so full of energy and chaos, it's great. It actually reminds me of the surfing levels from the Konami games. Honestly, I found the Purple Dragons to be more interesting than the East River 3, and I wish the Purple Dragons were more developed. They really feel underbaked, and I feel like they needed more time to not only develop but also shine. I also noticed this animation error in episode 11. Whoa, Leo, did you just eat that fortune cookie message? To be fair though, having only one that I noticed is better than the magnitudes of errors from the 1987 show. Woof, so many animation errors. Still though, I can't really say which one is better between this one and the 4 other animated shows because unlike the 4 other animated shows, this one isn't something you should watch on its own. Rather, you should first watch Mutant Mayhem, and this acts more like a bridge for the upcoming sequel to Mutant Mayhem. With that being said though, at the end of the day, this is still so good. It not only manages to improve from Mutant Mayhem without it feeling jarring and instead feel very natural, but it also manages to surpass Mutant Mayhem. The characters are more fleshed out, the action scenes are a lot more flavorful. It's just so good. I very much love this. But if I have to nitpick, I do wonder why when the East River 3 had to leave for being different after being mutated, why didn't they take the pearl to avoid it being taken to the museum? I'm just saying, it could have saved them the trouble of trying to flood New York City after getting the pearl stolen. But that's already enough nitpicking from me. Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is definitely worth it. If I got turned into a mutant, I'd give it a thumbs up and a cowabunga.
Kick some shell, beat demons up high. We're gonna make you cry. Step on it, farewell. We're gonna make you yell. Mutant ninjas in the sky. You're gonna kiss your shell goodbye. Kiss your shell goodbye. Hey, kiss your shell goodbye.
understood that reference.